Get Into Gates. Let's try and remember how to do this, boys. It's been a little while. We are back talking Stargate, SG-1. One episode at a time. This might be the first time you're hearing of us because we've been away for a couple of months. You know,
this is the reboot after 20 years, I think.
I think so. We
With
joked
the worst
about it.
episode ever.
We joked about it, didn't we? At the last episode, which was There But For the Grace of God. Now, my name is Mitch. Speaking there was Brendan and Rhys. We all loved the last episode. Matty, say a word. He hates it. And we joked, and we said next episode, Matty loves it and the rest of us don't. Oh, we won't even show up next time, and let's pretend like we're fighting and we don't want to come back and do it. And then lo and behold, we're away for about 2 months. So
I've just been sitting here by myself.
Gathering even more audio.
Just waiting.
Because I've got all this audio waiting to
Talking
use.
about Senator Kenzie.
Mate, I ran out of room in my book. I had to add a post-it with other stuff. I had to write.
We all write notes and stuff, and you go, oh, God, I had to write so much. I've got posters. I'm like, you've got more pages in that book. Yeah, I'm like, I want to see them all in like a spreadsheet right there. And I'm like, it's how? It's a throwback.
Episode, mate. 1 page per episode.
Yeah,
Despite hating this episode, I have a buttload of notes here.
This is my notes. Episode 20, Politics. Clip show. Seriously, to be continued.
Mate,
That's all we got for Getting to Gate this week.
Yeah.
If you don't like clip shows, I've got some bad news for you because there's about 4 or 5 more before the end of this series.
Yeah, but seriously, who has a clip show before season 1 even finishes?
Yeah.
Like Roseanne even waited till season 3.
Oh, look at someone's been doing their research.
Well, we need fresh material to joke on.
Well, to be honest, that was set up as a trap because I thought you'd say, no, it was actually season 4, and then I just burned
Mate,
you.
I've watched it once, all right? Just relax.
So, I didn't actually know if Roseanne had a clip show.
Well, if you are joining us
it
for the
does.
first time as a Stargate fan,
Roseanne, idiot!
we are here to talk Stargate, 1 episode per week. We all got together because Rhys, our brethren here, had never seen an episode, despite Brendan, his older brother, being here, being a long 2-decade lover of the show, as am I, as is Matty. And Rhys said, bugger it, I'll watch it. And we said, we'll watch it with you, son. And then we'll get in a studio once a week and talk about the episodes. And we're ever so close to the end of the first series and we get to politics. Something that Matty has been waiting the entire season for. It's one of your favourite episodes of the entire series, let alone season.
I seriously still think you're joking.
I'm seriously not joking. And it's made me question, like, if there's something wrong with me. Because
What do you mean, if?
Before we started doing this...
I questioned that at Emancipation.
Well, that's the thing, is like... Emancipation and Politics, two of my favorite. They're probably my favorite episodes of this season.
Oh,
and I had
what are you doing here?
No idea there was so much fan hate around it. It's only in doing like research for this show that I found out that these are two of like the least popular.
The reason we've been away for 2 months is because it's taken me that long to get through this episode without falling asleep.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever watched it in its entirety. I've tried 4 or 5 times, and I've gone, this is a clip show.
Yeah.
This is, to me, the most lazy, irresponsible writing of a show you could ever do.
Like
a clip show.
To me, a clip
Mate,
show.
some of the best TV shows on earth have done clip shows.
Yeah, but in season 1 though.
Yeah.
Like, to me, a clip show is like, you watch it in season 4 or 5 and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened in season 1 and 2. That is just awesome. That's a good clip show. But when you've just watched 19 episodes and then there's clip show about it, and you're just like, I remember them, I watched them last week.
This isn't even the worst clip show of Stargate. Like,
yeah, it is.
Next season...
You sadly
I'm sorry.
mistaken, sir.
Season two's finale, then the last episode of season 2 is a clip show.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's the worst. It is 10 times worse than
Well, I'm
this.
sure we will love
Not.
it.
Well, let's do what we've been doing. I'll read out what this episode says it's about outside of the clip shows. Politics.
Except for our new hero.
Except for our new hero, so I'll find out off the cuff where I'm going to stick him in. Only Daniel Jackson knows of the Gould plans to invade Earth, but no one takes his warning seriously. In fact, this time the authorities have chosen to terminate the costly Stargate program and close the gate forever. There's nothing more. What will Walter do to help save the situation? I don't know. There's nowhere to stick in Walter because there's not much room for any new gear to happen because this is a goddamn clip show. One thing, though, that I'm very happy with this episode, though, it does introduce Kinsey.
Love Kinsey.
Kinsey, yeah.
Look, there's a lot of hate about the clip show. I get that. But I do want to say, The Simpsons, Cheers, Star Trek, Seinfeld, Friends, Frasier, and Roseanne have all had clip shows. It's just
I'm
a
not
thing
against clip shows.
to
I
pay.
am.
But think about it.
shit
Now,
ones.
Rhys, have you seen the next episode yet? Have you seen the season finale?
Well, according to this podcast, no, because I'm watching it one episode at a time. But yes, I have.
But that's what I mean. Is without giving too much away, we all love the next episode. We wouldn't have that episode if it weren't for this episode, because the reason we got this clip show, and the clips do suck, but I love the stuff around the clips. But the clip show itself was to cut the budget because they'd gone over budget. So basically,
No, we get it.
There was no way they could pay for the next episode.
Like
except
it
for
was
this
just
one.
it was just basically a 5-minute story that they dragged out by putting clips into it. Like you can't say, "Oh, we wouldn't
They
have had the
should've-
last
Would it help
episode.
if they played this at the front instead?
Sorry for the clip show. Have no fears, we got stories for years.
Would that have helped?
What is that?
That's
Yeah,
from The
because I would have
Simpsons.
gone.
Don't you know that one? No, you play the other one then. Play the other one.
Don't go
I
there.
thought for sure you'd know this.
Home and Shorts, Christmas show, Marge's fling, Homer's bro. I'm
getting blank stares.
Flanders fails, whacking
Was this
snakes,
in season
monorail,
28?
Mr. Plow,
No,
Homer's
this is
Station,
early
Psycho
on.
Bob, steps on rakes, Lisa's future, Selma's hobby, Marge
Oh,
proud,
yeah.
Homer chubby, Homer worried, thought escape, Bucci, you to NRA, hippies, Vegas and Japan, our couplets, and Parks Boy Band, Marge murmurs, Maud croaks, Lisa Buddhist, Homer.
That's longer than I thought.
Yeah, no, I think I'm done.
Yeah, that's
That's what
right.
she said.
Yeah. Like I've always
Sorry for the clip show.
I've always wanted someone to write like a modern day Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire." That's not what I'd thought of.
No.
Though. That's definitely not what I intended.
We didn't
But-
want this clip show.
Perfect.
I love it. It's great. It's phenomenal. Like,
It's phenomenal. I'm glad you
It's-
mentioned that, because the only reason that politics could have been better, or good even, is if Donald Trump was in it. I think that would have been actually quite good.
That was great.
Okay, believe me, guys, nobody loves the Stargate more than I do. Okay, nobody.
But shut it down.
But we're gonna build a wall. We're gonna close the iris forever. Okay, costs too much money. That would have been entertaining at least.
what are you saying? Kinsey wasn't entertaining?
I wanted him to be thrown out of an airlock.
But that's the whole point. He's so good at making you hate him because he's such a fucking idiot.
But you know,
sorry for the editing there, Mitch.
It's
but
the ultimate America. I understand why. That's what I mean. They've done it just to anger us, to add fuel to the flame of a clip show.
But no, see, to me,
I'm already angry it's a clip show. Don't
me,
make me more angry.
it expands the universe. I mean, you get a good 15 minutes of like Daniel explaining stuff to Hammond and then them finding out about Kinsey and then Kinsey coming in. So there's a good 15 minutes of show before you get to clips. And yeah, the clips do suck. Like it's, you know, like you're saying, we're only 20 episodes in. We don't need to be reminded of this stuff.
What I think what should have happened, it should have been There But For the Grace of God Part 1 and 2, and this whole episode could have been shrunk down to the last 10 minutes.
It's funny. I was thinking the same thing in terms of like if this show was done like now on HBO, like Game of Thrones and that
Yeah,
sort of, where
it'd
there's
never
no
happen.
when there's no runtime.
Yeah.
It's like take these 3 40-minute episodes, give 20 minutes more to There But For the Grace of God to fix up the plot holes in that
Yeah.
one, and then just take the good 15 minutes from this episode and chuck it onto the start of the next one.
Yeah, and we don't
you're laughing.
need to be reminded. Okay, I will say this: it was 1997. It was running on television once a week, so maybe you might have missed certain episodes, which would be beneficial. And I get that, but it still sucks.
It's like a way too long previously on.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
it was kind of like a
I think
previous.
that's what it was for me, because I'm kind of rewinding previously.
Yeah.
and then you fast forwarded through the whole.
And I
episode.
don't know the situation around, like, I don't know how popular Stargate was, like, in the States at this time, whether they needed some of this going into this big, you know, big thrilling sort of 2-part season finale. I'm not sure sort of the logistics and the behind the scenes on that sort of
Well,
stuff.
we already know they
but-
had 88 episodes
Ordered,
greenlit.
yeah.
Yeah, but I just don't know in terms of ratings whether it was, you know, drooping
Yeah,
or
yeah.
lifting or anything like
Yes,
that.
this was
and-
like on the eve, and they're probably putting in all the marketing, saying, "Hey, this show wraps up next week."
Yeah.
So people, I'll tune in and have a crack, and this is what you've been missing, you know.
Yeah.
And it shows how beneficial the idea of maybe not binging a show, but having a show available to watch is that we take for granted.
Yeah, we're spoiled these days.
Now, you
Yeah,
know, like
definitely.
we're recording this on Friday, the day that Iron Fist, Marvel's latest series with Netflix,
Yeah, you
has
guys are lucky
dropped,
I'm even
right?
here.
So,
Like-
okay, I know that we're uploading this a couple of days after, but like that's one that I'm really looking forward to because I watch everything of Marvel and the Marvel Netflix series.
2
So I
months
can't
late.
wait to just I watch them very late, but I can't wait to go home and I can watch one episode or I can watch all 13 if I wanted to. And not one stage, even in the 11th or 12th episode, they're going to remind you of stuff that you've missed because it's like, well, you can watch that once a week if you want,
Yeah.
or you can watch it all in a bunch. And like, for me, my go-to example of not so much clip show, but constant reminding was 24. And 24, more
Previously
to its...
an hour ago.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that this show is all set within one day. And you think, okay, as an audience, I haven't watched the first episode's events in 20 weeks, right? We're right at the end of the season. I haven't seen this shit in 4 months. But these characters experience this that morning. And every episode, there would be one character going up to another, and they would very, very explicitly say and explain to you everything. It's like, hey, Rhys, we need to go and catch these terrorists, because if we do not catch these terrorists, they are going to detonate a bomb that will blow up the White House. It's like, yeah, you said that to me 45 minutes ago in story time.
Rhys needs help, guys.
You know, it's like
Stress leave.
you guys are secret, well, you're not secret agents, but you're government agents working towards saving the American government. Like, you know the stakes. You don't need to be reminded, but it's there purely
season.
for the
It's
audience.
like, why else do you think I'm here if not?
Oh, it's ridiculous. So, like, I see this, and I hadn't actually thought about the alternative that you just put forward, Brendan and Matty, about fleshing out what we said was a problem with There But For the Grace of God, was that the plot holes that were there could have been expanded on if they gave it 2 episodes. For me, I'd always thought of politics as being the first 15 minutes of an episode, have them then go rogue halfway through, because in any 42-minute drama or sci-fi or any show that goes for 42 minutes, you get to that 20-minute mark, and there's the big... okay, this is going into the second act or the whatever. Like, it's the big cliffhanger moment that pushes you on into the second half of the episode. And that's what this could have been. They go rogue, and then you would assume, watching a 42-minute show, as you have for the entire season, they're going to go to this planet, see what it's about, who's on the other end, is it a Gould, base, army, whatever, is this where they're launching the attack from, and then they're going to figure out how to beat it, or at least come back to Earth and start to warn them. And I think that had it have been the first half of the episode, or at least the first 15 minutes, and the payoff would have been almost how they ended the season finale, which we'll get to next week, that you realised, oh, they're not getting off the ship or something, like it would end on its own cliffhanger. And then even next week could still end on its own cliffhanger. I don't know. Like, I like all the clips. I like what the clips were from those episodes, because I love this. I love Stargate, so I love being reminded of the great stuff that they've had in the past. But yeah, like for someone like Rhys, being introduced to it for the first time, it's like, I've watched this over the last 4 months.
Coming back and having that Colonel moron say one line and then throwing to another clip was,
The thing that annoyed me the most is because because I was looking for... It's getting to the back end of the season. I was really looking forward to more answers, and I wanted to know more. And then they just chuck shit in that I've already seen. I'm just like, I'm so disappointed, because I went into this episode like, yes, finally end of the season, I'm going to get some answers about something, and then it's just some...
But what about the Kinsey stuff? Did that fire you up? Did you really hate him? Like, did you enjoy seeing him go toe-to-toe with O'Neill, and him going toe-to-toe with Teal'c, and them just like bashing their heads against a wall at this idiot who just doesn't get it? It's like that old phrase about, when you play chess against insert derogative term about any group here, Christians or whoever you want, and it's
Christians.
It's like, they say, arguing with a Christian.
You could have said like someone who believes in Thor, the Norse gods or whatever. What is that?
That's the symbol of Odin, Thor's father.
That's a tattoo we're talking about, listeners.
Yeah. So
is that just something you picked off the wall and later found out that it actually was that?
No,
Is this what he just tells people it is?
No, it's the triple horn of Odin.
Yeah. No, I saw it in Avengers.
No, you didn't. That's a try quick. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Anyway, the old saying, it's like, arguing with a Christian is like playing chess with a pigeon. You can be the smartest and the best at it, but this pigeon's still just gonna knock over the pieces and shit all over the board, then strut away triumphantly. Yeah. Like, to me, that's Kinsey.
And come back 3 days later.
Yeah, like Kinsey is not
good day to our Catholic listeners as well.
I hate pigeons,
but that's what I mean. Like, Kinsey is that it's like. No matter how many cogent, arguments we put in front of him, he's just being so close-minded and just doesn't get it. But the thing I love about it
He just doesn't care.
But he's also right.
Yeah.
Like, that's the coolest part to it, is we're lucky as the viewer, because we've gone along. We know this team. We know SG-1. We know Hammond. We know we can trust them. We know that they're good at their jobs. We've essentially been the 5th member of the team going through the gate with them every episode. Kinsey's been reading mission reports after the fact. Now, O'Neill's not the kind of guy to talk himself up and say how great he is and how great his team was and how they saved the world, blah, blah. He'll be like, his reports would be palming it off to, dot points and palming it off to, we were lucky enough that this happened. And there'd be really dry reports. So Kinsey is the one that basically gets to, look at it in hindsight and go, well, you could have done this better, you could have done this better. But we know, having been on the missions with the team, they're phenomenal. Like they, and we trust them, whereas Kinsey doesn't. And Kinsey to me is like a representation of the civilians like around the world, that this program is going on and it's a secret, And there is that phrase he says about, things, withering the light of day, things that grow in the dark wither in the light of day. So that's what I love about this episode. It's such this cool. It's almost, to me, it's like Civil War, Captain America: Civil War, where it's like you've got two sides.
Both of them are right,
and they're both right.
Yeah.
Like I could see both.
So I get what you're saying, because between the clips, I was enthralled and I loved
so
it.
Good, wasn't
and that's
it?
What I'm saying. Like, you don't like the clip show, you like what was between the clip shows.
Yeah, I can look past the clip shows and just. And to be fair, like when I go back and rewatch this, a lot of time I will fast forward through one of the longer clips and stuff like that, just to get. And it's that first 15, 20 minutes to me is. To me, some of the best stuff of this entire season, like in terms of writing and performance. And I almost feel like if this show was in its third or fourth season when it did this, and they had a huge following, and they'd be more inclined to do like a genre show, like when Buffy did like a musical episode and a silent episode and the death episode, all that sort of stuff. I almost feel like I wish they'd done this, had the confidence to do this as like a 12 Angry Men episode, and it was all done in the briefing room. Lots of really like one take, single shots, all that sort of stuff. It was all in camera. But I just feel like for a TV show this early that's made to be this action off-world shoot 'em up, sci-fi thing, I reckon they were just sort of too scared to do an entire episode in the briefing room.
Yeah.
So they feel like they had to split it up with these.
Yeah,
these
it would
show
have been a brave
things.
move, and in hindsight, we would have really, really respected them for doing it.
Like
but
a high concept.
You can
just-
understand, why they didn't
I
do
would
it.
have, I like that concept. If they're all and you have like sort of half the table as the politicians saying why you shouldn't, and then like people like Walter on the other side is like, no, we're doing great.
Yeah, just.
And yeah, because I love, as I said before, like I was enthralled between the clips, and I think like my emotions were invested in it, and I think it was just it split up my emotions when it went to the clip.
Yeah, because it's like
it's just
the
a
emotion...
letdown. I was just like, oh god, now I have to wait for this clip to end before I get back to it. Okay, now I'm back to it.
Yeah, because
it's like an extra ad break.
Slow burn build where it's like they're very cordial at the start and they start sort of getting more and more argumentative, but then there's these clips in between that just kind of take you out of that action, and it's just like, oh god,
I think that's what disappointed me the most about it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at who was behind it. Written by written by Brad Wright, and directed by Martin
that's
Wood.
The thing,
so
like,
Brad wrong.
The two legends of the of the show. I mean, sure,
you know what? I love Brad Wright. I trust him.
Yeah,
but god damn it, Brad, you got me.
I'm wondering too,
Line
like,
and sinker.
how much do they just focus on writing and directing this episode as being the Kinsey stuff, and leave the clip show until the editing booth, really? I mean, I know they had to think about what they were going to put in when they were writing it, when they were filming
they
it.
were setting
but
up the clips.
That's what we're saying. Like, these two guys, which we love the way that Brad Wright writes, and we love the way that Martin Wood directs the show, all that stuff, the new stuff, we're all in agreement. That stuff was great.
Yeah.
But it was unfortunately just thrown in. And, we're looking at Rhys as being sort of something of an example, because you are watching it for the first time, and we do feel sorry for you getting reminded of all this stuff you just watched. But like you said during this episode, you have went ahead and watched next week's episode, which we'll chat about next weekend. Yeah. But you got to think, 20 years ago, they had to wait another week. So you got last week where it's like, they're coming to be continued, essentially.
And that's
and then politics, like, oh, are you serious? I've waited a week to see what happens,
Yeah.
and now I've got
week.
this. Like, it would have been fine if you knew it was going to pay off at the end of the episode,
but
then going through the gate.
I understand that point you brought up. Like, back in the day, there was no internet that you could just go download an episode, in 2 minutes and then rewatch the season.
Yeah.
Like, they were, if you've missed out an episode or two and there's important bits in it that you need to watch, like, I can understand that now.
I remember as a kid having like a blank VHS tape, and that was to record Stargate or Buffy or whatever was on late at night, and you have to set the timer record or something like that.
And
it's
new
like
technology too,
if there was a
set the
power
timer.
outage or the timing was off and you'd miss the first minute or the last 2 minutes, you'd be like, oh god, because there was no way to get it.
Yeah, any kids listening? You got it so good, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the shit. If we like,
Back
if
in
we
my
wanted
day.
we had to plan our week around watching our favorite TV show. It's like, what are you doing next Thursday? Well, I got to be home by 7:30.
I used to get the TV Guide out, and every Sunday, like out of the newspaper, and I would go through it, and I would highlight my shows for the week.
Yeah, I did too. I'm wondering what my father did when he looks at it.
Yeah, I still do it now because I've got a DVR. It's kind of you always blank eyes at me when I say DVR.
No, yeah, I don't.
But it's basically your Foxtel IQ, but for free to air.
Yeah.
And so every Sunday I spend 20 minutes because it's got the TV guide in the computer, and I just go through the entire week and I just press record on the shows that I want to watch. And that way I don't have to worry if I miss it or anything like that, and it just records it. And I can get.
Do you watch anything on free to air?
Yeah. There's always weird.
Gogglebox.
Oh God. Remember we were talking the other week about in our chat for the Untouchables, and I mentioned how they've got a friend who I don't talk to anymore.
Yeah.
They watch Gogglebox.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call.
Well, good
call.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, I can't.
I reckon if you set up a camera next to your TV, I reckon we'd get some bloody goal out of you. Watching episodes.
I understand the concept, but I can't watch a person watching TV.
No, that's ridiculous.
That's just the most bizarre.
And they're not even
concept.
entertaining.
Did you?
Like if it was
you wouldn't
us,
have watched Big Brother, would it?
Oh, here
Did
and
you watch
there.
Big Brother? Yeah,
Not religiously.
It's the same thing, except they're not watching TV. They're just sitting on the couch.
Yeah, you
Right?
might get the odd, well, early on you get that
Turkey slap.
No, I can't cut Gogglebox. No, that's.
Well, now you know how we feel about politics.
Oh, I love it so much. Just.
No,
I want to play some
hate
clips,
Kinsey.
but I know you guys are gonna like. Just...
In the words of Mrs. Finkel, I hope he dies of gonorrhea and rots in hell.
Finkel his own horn.
There is some stuff I do want to bring up about this episode that I did like and all that. And there was a great line from Kinsey I just want to throw to where Hammond, I think was it Hammond's line where he's like, the US aren't in the habit of interfering with other people's business or wars.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we're like, since when? And then Kinsey comes along. I think he might even take the cake over Hammond with this line.
I have spent a career listening to doomsayers in uniform. Let us build our billion-dollar machine and we will save America from the barbarians at the gate. Let me remind you that the Cold War is over. And let me tell you something. This time there really are barbarians. They're called ghouls. And they really are at the gate. That one!
Oh, it's all right. No, but he follows it, I think, maybe even that line up by saying, and they'll regret taking on the USA.
the United States
it's
military.
a global threat, but you guys, it's like,
Yeah.
you guys are the forefront, man. You're going to take it to them. They're not going to worry about the rest of the world because you guys are the real deal. And you're right. He came into this. He's a politician. He came in to be the smartest man in the room. And even if he wasn't, he was going to leave having said the last word or being the guy that was right in any given argument. Whether he was or not, that's how he's leaving the room, leaving everyone feeling deflated and all that. And a great dick, And I love the actor because he was the captain in the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. And so I love this guy.
and
he's introduced
Why
here.
does Matty like him?
Well, that as well. He does play a lot of really great dick characters, and in a certain sci-fi series that I'm not allowed to talk about,
Hey, come on.
he does come in and actually is the new, and he replaces Patrick Stewart's character in the TV show.
Well,
that
now I
I'm not
hate
about.
him. No one replaces Patrick.
And well, that's it. And he's a dick in it, and he plays a dick so well.
Yeah.
Like he's just so antagonistic, and you love to hate him. Like he's
On
Kinsey.
a lighter note, though.
I was gonna say, as much as we hate him, I think we can all agree that we're happy the Stargate wasn't found in North Korea.
yeah.
Yeah, the US still would have got it. No, I was just gonna say.
What's that? We'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah, we found out that the SGC costs $7.4 billion a year. So, and then obviously $1 billion goes into lighting.
Oh yeah, we've established that. Yeah.
So that was circa 1997, and I calculated for inflation it'd be 11.1 billion in 2016. I don't know.
Wow.
That's nothing.
I do
You
have
use
that
that to
clip.
build a wall.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Do you know how much this program costs?
Because this program hasn't got billions of dollars going into it that they can't have 2 locker rooms.
Yeah.
Well, seemingly there's only like 2 females.
I
on
mean, as
base
General
anyway.
Hammond
28
says, it costs
floors or
nearly $1
whatever.
billion just to turn a light on. I mean, they wouldn't have a lot to build a locker room.
Are you making us do our own clip show?
Yes!
No, I'll turn it down. How dare you? All right.
That's pretty cool. Actually.
$407 million.
It's all right when it's
give or
us.
take, per year. With all due respect, Senator, the accounting department is up on level 3, I believe.
Look, I thought it was only fitting in a clip
You know
show
what?
to
We
put
should
in our own
have
clip
just
show.
done that. We should have spent 5 minutes on this stupid show and you just go, hey, remember when we did this?
Just play back clips every time we're dreading talking about politics. Episode 7, Rhys had this to say. Oh, shit.
That's good.
It would have been even more funny because it'd be more work for Matty to get the grabs.
You like it so much, do all the work, Matty. Actually, there was one other great bit that I liked because... it was made around the same time, obviously developed by from a Roland Emmerich movie. Another Roland Emmerich movie was Independence Day a couple of years later, which did come out before the show. And there's a little stab.
Senator, we have reason to believe that the Goa'uld are about to launch an attack in force in ships.
Then I think they'll regret taking on the United States
There we go.
military.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, you're right. We'll just upload a computer virus into the mothership.
Welcome to Earth.
I was waiting for you. Burn! Yeah.
Classic America, though. Will they regret? No, they won't.
No, they won't.
They won't care, man.
And we had another recurring bit of Wizard of Oz references in this episode as well.
Beware the destroyers. That's what the message said. These are the coordinates the Goa'uld will launch their attack from. It was a warning.
Daniel just getting real
So your
serious.
vision foretells.
No, it wasn't a vision or a dream
No,
or
Tim,
hallucination.
you
It was real. Now, I know this is hard for you guys to believe, but I swear to you, the entire time you thought I had disappeared on P3R233, I was experiencing an alternate reality.
And you were there, and you were there, and there's no place like home.
As a matter of fact, you were there.
Look, I understand the existence of this episode. I do, like I said, for the era that it was, but I kind of rest my case on this episode where Kenzie, I don't know if you got the grab, but where Kenzie says, "There's only one God, sir," and I was just like,
Oh, don't you want to just punch me in the face? You're just
yeah,
like,
and especially because Brad Wright knows that most sci-fi people are atheists, so it's just even more infuriating. You know what I mean?
yeah, but it's
Well
almost
written.
like
It's fear mongering, it's provocation.
yeah.
I don't like it, but god damn it, I respect it.
And it's like it's like he's representing like the other side of the political, coin. Like, you've got, your Democrats and Republicans. I mean, the thing about this show is you never sort of know who's in charge in terms of government. Even though he is part of the government, you almost feel like he's from the other side. You know, in the way that he's sort of so antagonistic about the program and what a waste of time it is because he just doesn't get it. And no matter what they do, he's never going to get it.
I think my favorite line of this was Daniel at the end.
Senator, the Goa'uld were bombarding our cities from space. We were defenseless against their weapons.
Dr. Jackson, I do not suffer fools gladly.
Nor do I, Senator, and I'm telling you, when we killed Rod 2 years ago, we set into motion a chain of events that will eventually lead to an all-out attack on Earth by the Goa'uld.
If this is so, why have they waited?
It will take time for Apophis to assemble the necessary forces.
Right. The society is futile. It would take time to build an army. Look, all I know is the location that they are going to launch the final attack from. If you don't believe me, just let us dial in the coordinates and let us go there and find out.
How many ships, Dr. Jackson? Has anyone detected their approach?
I can't be sure of the exact details. I mean, there were differences between that
couldn't read it. I had to
reality
put the
and
whole
this
thing in.
one.
Oh, of course they were.
I am not crazy.
Nor am I, Dr. Jackson. Neither am I unused to 11th hour pleas, though never have I heard one so desperate as this.
Senator, they are coming.
Then I say, let them come.
Where do you get this bureaucratic bull? You're talking suicide.
Colonel O'Neill, you underestimate this great nation.
It is you who underestimates the enemy. We have challenged Apophis.
Even Teal's getting
He will
fired
not
up, so
rest
you know
until the
it's
people of
serious.
this world worship him as their god.
There
Gets-
is
gets
only
the squishy
one
lips.
God, sir.
So serious.
And I do not believe for
So-
one moment that he will allow what you're trying to tell me to come to pass. We are, after all, one nation under God.
And you think God is going to save us?
The Goa'uld will believe they are gods, and your beliefs will not dissuade them.
If the Goa'uld do come, then we will be able to tell them that we have buried our gate in the ground forever and will never step through it again. If they challenge us, we shall prevail.
You're a fool.
And if they do not come, which I think is infinitely more likely, then at least Pandora's box will have finally been closed once and for all.
Oh God, I need a minute. That was phenomenal. Oh God,
That fell flat for me. You're a fool.
It was. I think it was more about his.
I think you probably need the visuals,
visuals,
to
yeah,
really
just
sell
that
that,
you're
because
a
it
fool.
felt
Yeah.
like you editing it could have just dropped that in, really,
that's
when
what I
you
thought.
just
I
listened
thought
to it.
you
Yeah.
said it for 1 second. But anyway.
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
What was
But
it?
yeah, that's pretty much the whole episode. And then chuck a few clips in, and
Yeah.
you got 45 minutes, 40.
As far as clips go, was it the first time that we've actually seen footage from the film put in this
Yeah.
show?
I
Like, aside from,
think
maybe
so.
borrowed effects with gliders and things, but they actually threw to a clip.
Yeah, through the clip of Ra's ship
Yeah.
landing on Abydos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think so.
and no one actually witnessed that apart from us. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's not like it was a...
Yeah, so to me that was a weird one to throw in.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like that's purely for us, and I just could have done without that.
Mm-hmm. Could have done without the whole thing.
Oh, man, it's so
Waiting
good.
for it.
What about Teal'c? What about Teal'c's heartfelt plea at the end?
General Hammond,
Oh, you feel
I
his
would
sorrow
like to
already.
request permission to return to the Stargate before it's permanently sealed.
You guys suck now.
Not going down
This
with your
world
shit.
does not intend to continue its struggle against the Goa'uld. Then here I do not belong.
It's the whole reason he came to Earth.
Yeah.
Poor
And let's be
bastard.
honest, Braytek and I could probably do this by ourselves. He had a great quote, actually, Teal'c, at what stage of the episode, but he's talking to Kinsey, or at least in the room, and he's like, what is right cannot always be measured by strength. I'm like, hell yeah, put that on a shirt or something, Teal'c, sell that. You don't say a lot, but when you say something, it means something. So good on you,
You can just
Pouty
imagine
Lip.
Teal'c going, I'll never find out who Luke Skywalker's father is.
All right, well, we've got through that relatively unscathed, I feel. It was a nice sort of, it was
we did. Matty didn't.
yeah, sure. Yeah,
He held his own. He held his own.
I feel like I'm going to get in more trouble because we've been talking about maybe doing like an end of season synopsis, and we were going to sort of grade episodes and stuff like that. I feel like that's when I'll get in real trouble. So we'll just save that for then.
Well, I mean, you've already previewed that at the start of the episode when you said this and Emancipation are your two favourites. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, they're in my top 5.
well, even
No,
so.
they shouldn't be.
That is episode 20, Politics of Stargate SG-1. Thank you very much for joining us. We are Get Into Geek. You can find all of our gear on the SoundCloud and iTunes podcast. You can find us on the socials at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Myself at Mitch_Lewis, Twitter and Instagram. Matty?
Hi, Pitch Matty, Instagram.
Brendan?
Oh, yeah, what am I? At the Brendan Gibson. I've been on that for a while.
I'm impressed.
And Rhys.
No
You've remembered your
posts.
login for
I
that one.
remembered my freaking name.
Can't remember the password for it though. I am at the Flying Gibson.
Good stuff. So we will be back next week. We're back. We're finally, this whole 2-month thing, that's never going to happen again. Let's hope. Certainly not going into next week, because we're not dreading next week. It's the season finale, Within the Serpent's Grasp. Rhys, you have seen it already, but I can't wait to talk to you about it because it's your first season finale. So looking forward to see your whole wrap up of season 1 and the way that they are doing it with next week's episode. So we'll see you back then. More Stargate SG-1 when we're all friends again. We all agree, yeah? Yeah? Yeah, go team.
GetIntoGeek.com